inshallah we'll go and start. In last two classes we did a breakdown of the two parts before this, which is A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.
You go this way.
So we also did the understanding of first two words here, Alhamdulillahi. And Alhamdulillahi, we did a detailed breakdown, means all the thanks for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is where we had done. So inshallah we'll try to continue from this point onward. So the first word after that is, our first two words are Rabbil Alameen. Okay? How we reach to these two words, so we'll look into that. The first word starts with Ra, Ba and Ba. These are the three letters. And in Arabic, the meaning of these three letters is to provide, to sustain something, to give something. Ra, Ba, Ba. Okay? And if we combine these three letters in this format, then we put a shadda on the second one and a fatha on the first one. This word is pronounced as Rabbun. The original word is Rabbun, and the meaning of this word is the one who sustains, the one who provides. It's a noun for the doer. The word, usually you will see this word as translated as Lord. That word came from biblical background. Okay, we really don't know what's the meaning of that word. We just got used to using that word Lord. But the actual meaning is that one who raises you and one who provides for you. Okay? And for that reason, Rabb is also used for the father. Because father is the one who raises a child and provides for him. But when it comes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the word is Rabbun. Okay? So that's one word. So we can just write down that provider. Okay. Now the next word starts with these three letters, Ain, Lam, and Mim. Okay. This has many meanings, Ain, Lam, and Mim. But if we make, and the simple meaning is to know something, ilm, knowledge. These are the root letters for that. Okay? So if we make a noun with that, it is alimun. Alimun is a person who knows. Alim, the scholar. Okay? That's commonly we know. Alimun is the full word. Because all the nouns end up with two dhammas here, two page. So the actual word is alimun. Alimun means one who knows, the knowledgeable person. Also from these three letters, another word is created with a fatha on it. Alamun. There's a big difference between these two words. Alimun is someone who knows. This is alimun. And this is alamun. Lam has a fatha on it. The meaning of this word is world. Okay? So this means world. And this means the one who knows. Okay? But this is the word that we are going to study here today. Okay? So if it is a single word, like for example, you can see all the people who live on this earth, they are one word. Okay? So that is alamun. So one. Its plural is alamuna. Its plural is alamuna, and plural will be worlds. Okay? So this is the word alamuna. Many, many words, plural. Okay? Alamun, the word is used in food, you've seen and unseen both words. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, you can include that. Okay. So, but those seen and unseen are for us. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are all seen. So, alamuna is the plural word. Words. Okay. So now we have one word here, provider or sustainer, and in Arabic is Rabbun. And the other word is alamuna. These are two separate words, two separate nouns. Okay. Now, if we go back to our earlier learning, is that if we have a word kitabun, and if we have the word Allahu, okay. A book and Allah. Okay. And we also learned that if you want to make a relationship between these, in English we just put an of. Pardon? Yes, mudaf. And here what we do, we remove one dhamma here and just leave one. And this one we change into a kasra. So the word is now, the combined word is kitabu and Allahi. But when you read together, you do not pronounce this alif. You say kitabullahi. That is equivalent of putting an of there. Okay? So that is the rule of combining two nouns, bringing a relationship by just changing these harakats from these last letters. In English, you put another word in between. In Arabic, just make one change here and one change here. Okay? So this is the rule. We want to apply that rule to these two words here. Okay? One of them is Rabbun, and the other word is alamuna. Okay? So the meaning is provider, and if I put off in between, so it will be just like Book of Allah, provider of worlds. This means one who provides for everything that can exist. Okay? So in English we just put an off there, but we have to make similar changes as we made here in these two words here. Okay? Now the rule is that the first word has two dhamma, you make it one. So we do the same thing, we just change this one and make it one dhamma here. Okay? On the second word, if you notice this was the sound of O. We change into the sound of E. That's what dhamma is, kasra and kasra. The sound of pesh or dhamma is the sound of O. We change to the sound of E. Okay? This word here, we have to do the same thing, but it's a plural. So what we do in plural, we change this sound of O and change sound of Ya, which is the sound of E. In plural, that's how we do it. In singular, you just change last dhamma to a kasra. In plural, you take the vav of the plural and you change into a Ya. So this word will become alamina. Alamina. And that's the word in the Quran here. Okay. First word is Rabbu. Rabbi will come to that in a minute. But Rabbu and alamina. And al means the. Separate thing. Now, when you're reading the Quran, you will see the words there, Muslimuna, and sometimes you will see the Muslimina. That's what happens there. That because there are other words around, they modify the word alamuna to alamina, they change Muslimuna to Muslimina, Somewhere you will see munafiquna and munafiqina in the Quran. Meanings don't change, but the sound changes because there are certain rules of combination are applying there, and because of that, waw changes into a ya. Okay, so so if I put al here, al means the. Okay. So now, provider of the worlds. Okay, in Arabic it will be Rabbul Alamina. Rabbul, one Dhamma only. Al Alamina will be pronounced as Rabbul Alamina. Except that in the Quran there is a kasra here, Rabbi, but here it is Rabbu. Okay, so that's only one difference. Okay, why is that different? Okay, it should have been Rabbu. According to this, it should have been Rabbul Alamina. But what made it Rabbi? Lillahi. So we talked last time. Because, no, it's not a harf-jar, it's the sifat of Allah. Sifat or adjective follows the sound of the noun. So originally, word was Allahu. This is the original word. Always, original word will be Allahu. Okay? When we put li before that, li means for. Okay? This harf-jar changes this to a kasra. So, lillahi means for Allah. Now, Allah, He is the name now. It is not Allahu anymore. Allahi. Okay? Name and Rabb is the sifat of this name. Sifat is adjective, attribute, quality. Allah, the sustainer. So sifat follows the sound of the name. So if this became Allahi, this will be pronounced Rabbi, not Rabbu anymore. If this remained Allahu, then this will be Rabbu. Okay? So one word affects the other one. Okay? So the meaning so far is that Alhamdulillahi, all the praise for Allah. Now, who is Allah? He is the Rabb of all the words. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Originally, all the words were different. This word was Allahu. This was Rabbun. This was Al-Alamuna. But because of the rules of combination in Arabic, in English it is very simple. You don't change anything. Provider remains provider, off remains off, words remain words. But in Arabic, when you combine, we truncate the sound of the words. And that is the reason the harakat change from there. Meaning does not change. You can pronounce this separately. You can pronounce al. This is hamdun. Originally it was hamdun. This was li and Allahu. This was Rabbun. This was Alamuna. All the sounds got changed because we pronounce them together. Okay? So that's what the meaning is. Now let's go to the next two words. Ar-Rahmani and Ar-Rahimi. A lot of books have been written on what's the difference between two words. Okay? But what we will learn today is, with some examples from the Quran and the Fusha, then what is the difference in these two words? So the root letters for both of these words are Ra, Ha and Mim. These are the root letters which create both of these words. But what's the difference? Okay? First of all, let's understand the meaning of these three letters, as we can explain in English. Rahama is someone who has more. is giving to someone who has less. Some favor or some bounty is rahama, to provide, and in English we say mercy. But what is mercy? Mercy is that someone who has more is given to someone who has less. If you have more and you are giving some orphan child something, you are being merciful to that child. Allah has everything, He is giving to the creation, He is merciful to the human being. It's just one way. It comes from the top to the more, down to the less. So that's the explanation of mercy, or have mercy, or have bounty, something like that. Okay? So that's the original understanding of these three letters. Coming from more to less. Showing mercy, giving to someone who doesn't have. Okay? Now, let's learn these two words. Okay? So, both of these words are interchangeably understood, but not actually the true meaning. Okay? Both of these have the quality of mercy in them. Rahma, Rahama or Rahmat or Rahmatun, they both have that quality. But the degree is different, but the level is different. Okay? So let's understand that one with the help of some other words. In Arabic, if I have three letters, Fa, and Lam, this means to do. And we learn all the grammar of the Quran with the help of these three letters. So we'll come back again and again to these three letters. If I do one thing like that, if I put an alif between these first and the second letters and pronounce them as fa'ilun. Fa'ilun means a doer. Someone is doing something. Fa'ilun is someone, like for example, sajada is to make sajda. Sajidun is the person or the doer who is making sajda. So that's how in Arabic we make the doer. Okay, one way. There is another way of making the doer, and which is you combine these three letters like that. Fa, and then you put alif and noon at the end. Okay, and you sound them fa'alanun, and we will explain. This is also a doer. Okay. But this doer has some other qualities. Okay? Then we also do one thing. We take these three letters and we put a ya in there and pronounce them fa'ilun. This is also a doer. All these three persons are doing something, but they are doing it at different levels. And once you understand this thing, you really will understand the meaning of Rahman and Rahim. Okay? So this is how three different people are doing something. All of them are doing something. Okay? Fa'il is a person who is simply doing something, like Sajidun, making sajda. Hamidun, making hamd. So just a simple person. Alimun, the one who knows something, a scholar. Okay? So this is a very simple doer. Person who is doing simple things. Let's look first at this word, fa'alanu. I'm going to write down two words here. And you may know the meaning of that. But when I explain to you, you will really understand this thing. These are the two words, tufanun and tughyanun. They both have this alif and noon at the end, which is created on this scale. Now what is tufan? Tufan is the rain, which comes down so much and so much and so much that it doesn't care who comes in the way. The rain, so much rain that is coming down that it doesn't care who is being affected by that rain. That's Tufan. Tughyan is the flood water that goes into the river. What is Tughyan is that if the river is flowing and the water is within the banks of the rivers, this water is benefiting people. But when the flood comes, it runs over the banks and it goes and does everything. It destroys everything. If there is a child, it doesn't care. If there is a crop, it doesn't care. That's called Tughyan. So having something which is over, not caring about who is receiving it. Okay? So the word Rahman is, if I put Alif and Noon here, it will be at this scale. Rahman is the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that puts out so much mercy to His creation. It doesn't care if the one who is receiving is disobeying Him or obeying Him. He is feeding regardless if the person is doing kufr. He is giving health to someone who is disobeying and not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This sifat of Allah, of mercy, doesn't care who the receiving person is, good or bad. That is Rahman, the sifat of Rahman. Just like Tughyan or Tufan doesn't care. It just keeps giving and giving and giving, pouring the water and pouring the water. It doesn't care who is receiving, good or bad. Tughyan is flood. When it keeps coming, it doesn't care. But these two are in the negative sense. This sifat is the positive sense. So much mercy, so much rahmat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which keeps coming down to His creation, regardless if creation obeys Him or not. His creation is obedient to Allah or not. His creation is following the commands of Allah or not. Kafir, mushrik, atheist, His blessings are on everyone. That is the sifat of Rahman. That is the sifat of this word doer. It doesn't care who is receiving, but He keeps giving, keeps providing. So that is the first word, Rahmanun. So the word is, it has to have an alif, like fa'alanun. So this word will become Rahmanun. Okay. And when you put al before that, al will remove one dhamma here, and its pronunciation will be al Rahmanu. But because Ra is a Shamsi letter, it kills the sound of Lam. So the pronunciation will be Ar-Rahmanu. Okay. So Surah Ar-Rahman starts Ar-Rahmanu Allama al-Quran. That is the original word. Ar-Rahman Allama al-Quran. So Rahmanu is the real word. Now what's happening here? What made it Ar-Rahmani? The same thing, because this is Allahi. And Rahmanu was the sifat of Allah, and sifat has to follow the same Arab. Just like if Rabbo became Rabbi, Rahmanu will be pronounced Rahmani. So that is the reason this sound of Dhamma changed into the sound of Kasra. If you are separately pronouncing it here, then you can pronounce Rahmanu. But when you are reading in the continuity, this word will sound Rahmani. And
because of Rabbi, right?
Because of Allah.
Right.
Rabbi followed, because this is the name. Everything else is the adjective, sifat. So because of Allahi, Rabbo becomes Rabbi. Because of Allahu, Rahmanu became Rahmani. Just the meaning change. And this is actually the beautification of the language. In the speech, it feels more fluent, more rhythmic language when it is pronounced that way. Okay? So that is the meaning of Ar-Rahmanu. Let's look at the meaning of Ar-Rahimu.
One more question. Allah, because of the sifat rules, the Rahman came to Rahmani. So, how many letters or how long do you have impact?
If there are many sifat at the same quality, the attributes, as long as they continue
Within that sentence.
within the sentence. So actually, here we stop here. Okay, but you don't have to stop there. The stop or the ayat is put, if you lose your breath, you can stop there. Okay? And as I said, the rule of the stopping is that if you want to stop here, then look at the last letter, noon. Whatever is the harkat on that last letter, here is a fatha, do not pronounce that. Okay, so you pronounce alameen. Just like there was no harkat. But if you continue pronouncing, you will have to pronounce alamina. You cannot pronounce anything else. Otherwise, meaning will change. Okay? So originally word it is alamina. Grammatically the word is alamina. Okay? But if you stop, you are allowed to take a breath, but you have to say alameen. Not only that, to make it more rhythm, as I mentioned last time, this ya before that, you have to stretch that. You have, if you listen to a qari, he will say alameen. Okay? To make it sound good. Okay? So every time you stop, for example, if you don't stop here, you will have to pronounce rahimi. Okay? But if you stop, first thing you do, letter, look at the last letter, look at the harkat, don't pronounce. Just pronounce neem. But again, you stretch here, so it will be rahim. Okay? So that's how the rule is. Now let's look at this word. So we understand the sifat of Rahman. Okay?
Don't you have to change it into sukun if you start the fatha?
In writing, you don't change.
Oh.
You don't change in the writing, but in reading, you do not pronounce that. Okay? Because if you don't want to stop, then you have to keep the original.
Right.
So the option is that original grammar, Arabic grammar will stay there. In the pronunciation, you will have a decision, you will have choice. This was Falanun has what Tufanun, Tughyanun, Rahmanun, all are on this wazan, it's called wazan, Falanun. So let's look at this word, Rahimun. Okay, notice one thing here, that this word here is at the scale of this one. Fa'ilun, Rahimun. Okay, so if I take these three letters, and if I put a ja here, in between here, then this will be Rahimun. Just like Fa'ilun. So this will be Rahimun. Now what is the meaning of Rahimun? Let's understand this word. Okay. Now we will use again the example of some words that we already know. If you look at these three letters, Ain, Lam and Mim, I just wrote down this. This means to know something. Ilm, alama. If I write down alimun, which is just like fa'ilun. And then if I use this one, this becomes alimun. So let's understand these two words. That will help us understand this word. Alama is to know something. Then one of us goes to school or college and get a degree. You can call this person alim or alimun, scholar. He knows little, and you can give him a title alim. Okay. The word alim, you don't call him alim. You Because alim means someone who knows a lot, or someone who knows everything is alim. So alim is someone who knows little, alim is someone who knows everything. So that's the reason one of the Asma'ul Husna of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Alim, the one who knows everything. So the difference between Alim and Alim is the one who knows everything. This is at the same scale. Rahim, so what is here? The intensity of the knowledge is there. This is little knowledge, but this has intensity of knowledge. So this word has intensity of Rahman. Okay. So Rahman is the one who doesn't care who he is being merciful to. But Rahim means the intensity of some action, intensity of the mercy, a lot and lot and lot of mercy. Okay? And this may be whomsoever he wants to give. Rahimun. Okay? And when you put al before that, this will become al-Rahimu. And when you pronounce it, will be ar-Rahimu, which is this word here. And the reason it is kasra again, because it is again the sifat of the same word. Okay. So we have three sifat of Allah, Rabb, Rahman and Rahim. And they all have to follow the same rules. Okay? Ar-Rahman and Rahim. And if it's not done here, we'll look some more after that. Okay? So this is the meaning so far, that we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who first we call him Rabbul Alam. Now in the Quran, if you're reading different places, somewhere you will see the word Rabbul Alamin. Somewhere you will see Rabbil Alamin, which is here. Somewhere you will see Rabbal Alamin. Why they keep changing? Because the effect of the neighboring words. Okay? So this will happen a lot. But if you know the fundamental rules, why it's changing, then it will be easy to understand. Okay? So up to this point are the three sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's look at another sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay?
So the word Rahman is more specific.
It has intensity. Okay? Intensity, just like intensity of knowledge is here.
How do we define intensity?
A lot.
So Rahman is a general, it also means intensity.
Yeah, Rahman is intensity, but Rahman sifat does not care who is receiving. He just keeps giving. Okay? But Rahim is the intensity, but it may be in a different way than everybody. Okay? So he may be merciful to whomsoever he wants to. With Rahim, lot of merciful.
I thought Rahim is for believers and Rahman is for everybody.
Well, that you can say that, but these are all just the interpretations, of different scholars. But I'm going through the grammatical understanding of these words. Okay. So now let's look at the next word. Next word starts with these three letters: Mim, Lam, and Kaf. Okay. This means to own something. Mim, Lam, Kaf means to own something. Okay. Now the same rule, Fa'ilun. If I put a alif here, it will become Ma-li-hun. Own, and the meaning will be owner. Owner, or sometimes you translate it as master. Owner or master. The word is Malikun. Okay. Some qiraat, they read this Malikun. Some qari, written is always with a Ma-li-kun. But some recitation, this is recited as Malikun. Like this alif is not being pronounced here. The Malikun means king. So it is correct. Generally you will hear the reciter reciting Maliki or Maliki, but some Qiraat can also pronounce this Malikun. So which is correct, both are correct here, but generally it is Malikun. So Malikun means owner, master.
So in some Qur'an, there are 7 different kinds.
There are 7 Qiraats. So some reciters who are reciting more, who learn to recite more than one Qiraat, in one of the Qiraats, this can be recited as Malikun. Okay, but not for common people. They always read and pronounce Malikun. And there is a very little difference. The king is the one who owns everything. He is the master. So meaning is slightly, very close to one another. But recitation is Malikun also. But that's not the one that everybody should do.
Okay. When you say Al-Malik, we refer to Allah subhanahu. Right?
Yeah.
But when you say Malik, is also the head angel of it.
Malik is the owner. Right now it's owner. But we are going to combine this word with these 2 words. So meaning will enhance now. Okay? So let's look at this. So that is one word. Malikun. Okay? Then these are the other 3 letters. And when I combine these 3, Yaw, Mun, it means day. Ya, Waw, Mim are the root letters. All the words have 3 starting letters. Okay. So these are the 3 starting letters, Ya, Waw and Mim. If I combine them and sound Yaw, Mun, all the nouns last letter has 2 dhammas, so the sound of Noon. Yaw, Mun is the original word. If we stop, we say Yaw. But the full word is Yawmun. Yawmun means day. Okay? Then let's look at another word. Dal, Ya, and Noon. Okay, these are another 3 letters. These 3 letters have many meanings. Okay? But we'll just take one meaning. The word Deen that we know. Deen means religion. Comes from here. Okay? The word Dain means to give someone some loan. It also comes from here. Okay? Then another meaning of the Nun is judgment. The Nun means judgment. To make a judgment. To make a decision. To judge between some people. That also means the dun. Okay, so this is the meaning we'll use here. Okay? Now, if I put al before that, al means the judgment. So when we put al, we remove one dhamma from here. So this will become al. The no, in the pronunciation, dal is the letter that gets the sound of lam. So it will be ad the no. So this word will become and written like that. Ad the no. Ad the no means the judgment. Okay. So we have 3 words now. 3 nouns. And the full pronunciation, correct statement is, this is the word called Malikun. Complete word is to the ma sound noon. Malikun. This word is Yawmun. And this word is Ad-dinu. Okay? And they are separate words. So we have these 3 words now. It is this one. And this one. So we have Malikun, we have Yawmun, and we have Ad-dinu. These are 3 separate nouns, separate words. Okay? Now we want to make a connection between these words. Okay? So first thing I want to do is, I want to put an off here. Okay? In English. So now this will become a meaningful statement. Day of the judgment. Day of the judgment. Okay? And we learn how we do in Arabic. We just remove one dhamma here and we take this dhamma to make it kasra. This is the constant rule we are learning. Kitabun, Allahu becomes Kitabullahi. First word loses one dhamma. Second word, dhamma goes to kasra. So now the word became day of judgment. In Arabic it will be pronounced Yawmud Deen. You do not pronounce this alif here. Yawmud Deeni is the correct word. Yawmud Deeni means day of the judgment. This is the Yawm Qiyamah. The day of judgment is the day hereafter. So by combining these, we make one statement. Day of the judgment. Now we are going to add one more word into these two words, which means I want to put an off here. Okay. So in English now it became master of day of the judgment. Okay. So when we put an off there, then we have to make some changes in these two words. Same rule. This will become one dhamma. Okay. And this dhamma will go to a kasra. Okay. So full meaning is of the ayat. This is the one whole ayat. Okay. The meaning is master of day of the judgment. Okay. And in Arabic it became Maliku Yawmiddini. Try to pronounce slowly. This word is Maliku. This is Yawmi Dini. Yawmiddini. Maliku Yawmiddini. So Yawmiddini is there correct here. But this word is Maliku. Why it became Maliki here? Because this is still a sifat of Allahu. Just like Rahmanu changed to Rahmani, Maliku changed to Maliki, because it's still master, owner. So see how much effect this word Allahu has? No, actually, this Lam before Allahu is the one who started all this. The word was Allahu. Li means for. So as soon as that for came, it impacted Allahu, became Allahi. Because it is name. So any sifat or quality or attribute of Allah that will come, keep coming, will follow that. So Rabbu became Rabbi, Rahmanu became Rahmani, Rahimu became Rahimi, Maliku became Maliki. Okay? These are not the sifat of Allah, Yawm and Deen. So these are the names, attributes of Asma'ul Husna of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is, see the flow, the whole sentence one after another has effect on one another. Okay? So that's very important to understand, to learn that why do we read the way we read? Because they follow the rules of Fusha, the original Arabic. Okay? So that is Maliki Yawmiddin. Okay? Now let's look at the words after that. Okay? The ayat after that is Iyyaka Na'budu. Okay. Now notice that these are the three ayats. Leaving Bismillah ar-Rahman. In this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us about Himself. We did not know anything about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So He taught us that my name is Allah, I am the provider of the world, I am the Rahman, I am the Rahim, and I am the owner and the master of the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us that these are the attributes, asma or sifat that I have. Okay? So now from this point, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not talking, we are talking. Okay? Up to this point, He was telling us. From this ayat, we are speaking now. Mankind is talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the part of the the surah changed the tone. Okay, so let's look at that one. The word Iyya in Arabic. Iyya. It means only. Okay. Only doesn't really explain everything in English. There is another word in English, exclusively. Exclusively means excluding everything. Okay. Excluding everything. Okay, that is the meaning of Iyya. Okay, and then the word letter with a fatha means you, and you means one person, you. Ka means you, but if I'm talking to just only one person, I will say you. I will use the letter ka. So, Iyyaka, we are saying only you. Okay? Exclusively or only you. Okay? Now we are going to learn a little bit more of the grammar here. And again we will use these letters fa, an and lam. Fa'ala means to do. Okay? If I put a noon in the beginning of these three letters and combine these three letters like this, we add a noon in the beginning of these three letters with a fatha, and then we put these harakats. So this will be nafa, lu. Okay? When we do a change like this, what are we doing in Arabic? We are just putting a W there. Removing two and putting a W there. We do. So that's how we make the grammar of first person plural, which is we. And present tense do. Remember, this is not a past tense, this is present tense. So in English, we do. In Arabic, we just put a noon in the beginning of the three letters and sound like nafa alu. Okay? So this is the rule. Whenever we want to make the present tense and we plural, we come, we go, okay? What we do? We just put a noon in the beginning and pronounce this way, nafa alu. Okay? Except one thing happens is that in Arabic, different three letters mean different things. Like hamada, we just learned it to praise. Okay? Fa'ala means to do, rahama means to do mercy, like that. The middle letter, which is an here, this keeps changing between three things. This may carry a dhamma or a fataha or a kasra. So in this case, middle letter has a fatha. Some other three letters, middle case may have a dhamma. In some other case, middle letter may have a kasra, and we will come in. There are a lot of those in the Quran. So the root letters ain, ba, and da means to worship. To worship. abada. Okay? And if we put alif in here, it will become abidun. Abidun means the one who worships, the worshipper, the doer. Okay? That's how we made the fa'ilun. But if we apply this rule here, in this case, this carries a dhamma, so this will become na'a budu. Na'a budu. Same thing, we put a sukoon on the first letter, which is ayn. Then middle letter we put a dhamma here, and last letter we put a dhamma here. Na'abudu. Na'abudu means we, present tense, worship. Na'abudu, we worship. Okay? So the meaning, the word na'abudu, which is in the Quran, means we worship. Iyyaka na'abudu, we worship you only. We worship you, or to you only we worship. Okay? So that is the meaning of na'abudu, we worship. Now notice very interesting thing that this is a plural, we. Okay? When you are praying collectively, you are reciting na'abudu, we worship. But if you are making your own salah, you still say we worship. You don't say I worship. Yeah, I'm worshipping. You still say plural. Okay? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us to include all of us. Okay? Include in your worship even if you are praying by yourself. But make a statement saying all of us worship you. Even though they do it willingly or unwillingly, but that's how we talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that all of us are worshipping. Okay. So inshallah we'll stop here and we'll continue the remaining of the surah.
This sign up